Okay, I really want to help you with this very serious issue of leprosy. Okay, now I know that there's a lot of misinformation going out there. You might not know who to trust, but I've got a very good source in God right here. He is giving us instructions to help us with this issue. Now, leprosy is a sickness, and it is contagious. So you don't know who has it. You don't know if they have symptoms of it or not. We don't know how to handle ourselves at this point. So I have a source right here in Leviticus 13 that tells us what to do. And this is really going to help some of you, okay? So let's go to Leviticus 13. Look at what God says to Moses and Aaron. Watch this, okay? When a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, a scab, or a bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh, like the plague of leprosy. So these are symptoms. He's saying if somebody is showing symptoms, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons, the priests. So you're supposed to see a priest if you have symptoms of this leprosy, okay? And the priest shall look on the plague of his skin of the flesh, and when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague in sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy. And the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean. So you have to be pronounced unclean before anything else, okay? If you're not seeing a priest, then you cannot just claim, oh, I've got leprosy. You've got to go to a priest if you show symptoms. Well, if you don't show symptoms, well, then obviously you wouldn't go to a priest, right? Why would you need to do that if you don't have symptoms? I know that leprosy can be asymptomatic, but you're supposed to go to the priest when you show symptoms, okay? Now, watch this. If the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh, and in sight be not deeper than the skin, and the hair thereof be not turned white, then the priest shall shut him up that hath the plague for 7 days. So believe it or not, you might have some symptoms of leprosy and it not be leprosy. But just in case, it says here that you need to be shut up for 7 days. So you need to distance yourself socially for 7 days, just in case, because you might have leprosy, but it might be in an early stage. We don't know. It could be something, and we don't want to spread this plague, right? So you need to be distanced socially if you have symptoms, but they're not sure, okay? And the priest shall look up on him again the 7th day, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, and the plague spread not in the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean. It's just a scab, it's just a sore. And he shall wash his clothes and be clean. So if after you're distanced socially, you go back to the priest and they see that it's not leprosy, then they pronounce you clean. You clean off your clothes, you clean everything, and then you're clean, you're good to go, okay? But if the scab spread much abroad in the skin, after that he has been seen of the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen of the priest again. And if the priest see that, behold, the scab spreadeth in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprosy. Okay, so if they see you after you've distanced socially and it's gotten worse, then this is leprosy. Okay, this is a big deal. Okay, so what do you do? Like, if you don't have it, like, let's say that you're showing symptoms. Of course, we remember, if you're not showing symptoms, then you don't need a priest. Okay, but if you are showing symptoms, then you need to see a priest. And if after 7 days you are unclean, what do you do? Okay, when the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought to the priest, and the priest shall see him. And behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and have turned the hair white, and there be a quick raw flesh in the rising, it is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. So you're not supposed to distance a person who is unclean. In fact, what they did is not just shut them up in the house, because then you could spread it around, right? So what would you do? This is what it says, okay? If a man also or a woman have the skin in their flesh, bright spots, even white bright spots, this is what it says, then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the rising of the sore be white reddish in his bald head or in a bald forehead, as the leprosy appeareth in the skin of the flesh, he is a leprous man. He is unclean. The priest shall pronounce him utterly unclean. His plague is in his head. And the leper in whom the plague is, this is what you do. If God forbid you get this sickness, okay? What you do, and the leper in whom the plague is, his clothes shall be rent, and his head bare, shave your head, and he shall put a covering upon his upper lip, and shall cry, unclean, unclean. All the days wherein the plague shall be in him, he shall be defiled. He is unclean. He shall dwell alone. Without the camp shall his habitation be. So they actually just put you outside of the entire camp. So if you are unclean, if you have been pronounced unclean, not if you have symptoms. If you have symptoms, you need to see the priest, because if you have symptoms, guess what? It might not be leprosy. There are other things besides leprosy, but God forbid, you want to be safe and make sure that you do this. But if you are pronounced unclean, if you have leprosy, then you are to cover yourself. I have like, let's say you take something like, let's say something like this, okay? You're to cover your face, okay? You shave off your head because the leprosy could be in there, you never know. And you take this and you cover your face. It says that you cover your upper lip because the leprosy can come out through your lips, right there. And you cover like this, okay? You would do this if you are pronounced unclean. Of course, if you're not pronounced unclean, then there's no need to wear this. But if you're pronounced unclean, if you actually have it, then you are to put this on, okay, and cover your upper lip, okay? Don't do this because you have it here. It says that you don't cover that because you can't breathe. But if you do this and you cover so that other people can know that you have this sickness, okay? But I mean, this is just God. What does he know? You probably want to do this anyway, even if you don't have it, even if you don't, because, at any time you might have come in contact with somebody who didn't have it. So, what does God know with this? I say that, maybe we should be safer, Now, I don't have it. So personally, I'm not going to do it. But if it be your preference, you might as well just cover up and wear this all the time as if you have leprosy, because you never know. You never know who you're going to come into. This is just what God says. We don't know if he's right about it or not. But he says that just to review, if you are showing symptoms, then you see a priest. If you are not showing symptoms, then you don't see a priest for leprosy. Okay? All right? You don't need to see a priest. Okay, but if you are showing symptoms, you see a priest, and the priest will determine whether it is leprosy or not. If it is, then you skip straight to the covering of your face and covering of your upper lip, okay, and make sure that you pronounce yourself unclean and let people know that you're unclean so that they don't come near you. You need to distance yourself because you have leprosy, okay? If you go to the priest and he declares that you do not have leprosy, then you are free to go. You're clean, okay? And then you can dwell among the people. So this is the way that God says to handle it. You can check it out. This is the KJV. They're very trusted sources, okay? And that's just what we have. Be safe out there, because this leprosy, I know that it has 99.9% survival rates with leprosy, but you still need, one death is too much. All right, you need to be careful because this leprosy is out there. Follow what God says, and we can keep ourselves safe from the leprosy, okay? All right, bless you all, and we'll see you on the next one.